Hey you, so on this video, are silver pumpers putting stackers in danger? I'm going to be going over just that, my own personal definition of a silver pumper, and just some of the scandalous tactics that they may take that can put many new stackers in danger just because they're unaware and just maybe taking advice from the wrong types of people. So before we get into this, we'd love to say, if you like what you hear and you see and you haven't done so already, please do go ahead and subscribe, and also let me know your thoughts and opinions on silver pumpers. Do you believe in silver pumpers? If such things exist, what's your definition of a silver pumper, and have you come across any silver pumpers? Try to be a little polite and just let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments, guys. So I'm going to jump straight into this one, stating silver pumpers. First, what is a silver pumper? Heads up, I have been labeled a silver pumper myself by some random commenters classing me as a silver pumper. So, it all depends on your outlook on how and what you define as a silver pumper. But for me, I see a silver pumper as someone that gives a wolf in sheep's clothing. Long story short, to give that interpretation that they're out there to help you, i.e. the new stacker that's taking advice from somebody, but they're really there to line their own pockets from whichever means or any means possible off of you, the sucker, or the silver sucker in these circumstances. I would say they are rare. Because not every channel person, some people believe anybody is stacking silver as a silver pumper, but no, they are rare in that, it only takes a few, but the few are hitting the right notes that may have many people following them. You're mainly going to find them on platforms or any type of video platform, I'd say, i.e. YouTube. You won't find them in a forum, for instance, where it's mainly text-based, because they need platforms like YouTube, even Instagram maybe, because there you can actually make money off of people. On YouTube you have the merchandise avenue, which may or may not be getting to. I've seen pumpers involved in that. Of course, you have the ad revenue. I've had people barking at me for my ads recently, and not way back as well. But then you also have the donations. So there's a lot more money to be made if you're preaching to the choir on a platform like this, YouTube, than any other platform. So this is where you normally find them hanging out and lurking. So getting into my definition of a silver pumper and why I think they're dangerous for new stackers. Just getting into a little bit of this. People have approached me, on all aspects, whether it be, would I promote something for them? Guys approached me and state that they've had 50,000, pick your denomination, whichever it may be, or currency, pounds and dollars, and ask for ways to spend that because they trust the advice I'm giving, And if it's happened with me, I could only imagine it's happened with some of the more, dangerous Pied Piper type of individuals out there. And I think that type of power in the wrong hands normally leads to abuse. If we look at unboxings and YouTube as a whole, just in the silver stacking community, once upon a time, unboxings on YouTube, from what I believe and understand, it was just unboxings. That's where we was. You'd have people that was just getting into this. They loved it so much, they showed their passion, got up on YouTube and unboxed what they got. It was that time where, especially for silver, it wasn't that much talked about. It wasn't that much of a large community on YouTube. So it was just people doing unboxings. Here's what I bought today. Ta-da. And then that, moved more and more and grew more towards becoming tips and tricks. So somebody may say, here's what I bought and here's how you can buy it, and just a heads up video, which actively moved on to them people giving advice. And that's where it becomes a danger zone, because you'll find many that have got advice off of somebody on YouTube, but that's where you can lead more to the abuse. And even when I'm giving advice, outside of me even saying, this is my own personal thoughts and opinions, I'm totally aware that I could be in charge of somebody's blood, sweat and tears, their life's work, So I try to give the most neutral, and this is what I don't see some pumpers doing. I've had people come in, I think, to be the most neutral, most diverse. For me personally, I recommend 50-50. For when people have come and asked advice and, they've had large amounts to spend, I would say a governmented coin. If you was in America, for instance, you want a Buffalo, a Gold Eagle, you want 50% of those governmented, and then you want the American Silver Eagles, Silver Maples, 50% of those. So a 50-50 split, 25 grand, 25 grand, governmented. To me, that's the most neutral approach. Should the person have not done their due diligence, I've stated on other videos, then have regrets running to hard times. I personally believe that they now have the most liquid coin in whatever country they may be in, where they can go to a dealer. A dealer's not going to knock them back because it's the ones that it's their bread and butter, it's their backbone, and they'll be able to see the benefits and the downsides of liquidating both and maybe then get a gauge. But for me, that's the most neutral point. So jumping into what I see as a pumper, well, my definition, once again, please do let me know your definition of a silver pumper, is usually going to be somewhat of a person that may have owned silver back in the day. Remember here, we're focusing mainly on silver. It's not every day you see gold pumpers out there. They've had silver once upon a time. They may have got into silver for the right or the wrong reasons at some point in time. And, they no longer have it, or they don't show if they do, or they give the impression that they still own it. And for whichever reasons, maybe they just fell out of love with it. Maybe they fell onto hard times, but they actively preach that they may have it, or that it's the best thing in the world, but they're no longer a physical owner of silver themselves, or they may have never even owned it. They just know how emotional a lot of silver stackers can be. Not to forget, it's considered the poor man's gold, so they know straight away it's a lottery system. So you've got a lot of people getting into this, and believe you me, I've come across a lot of people have asked my advice. Some call them arseholes, and I've given it, and they've came back at me and said, well, wouldn't it be better if I basically getting 100% silver? And I've said, look, it's your money. If you're asking my advice, that's what I've given, and it's been more along the lines of a 50-50, or whichever you prefer more, and maybe split it on a 60-40 basis. And they've wanted to go more aggressive silver, and I said, hey, by all means, go that. And so if you can imagine them come across a pumper, they'd more likely say, yeah, 100% silver, and maybe not, or, who knows. But catching up from where I was, that's my definition, or one of the definitions that I see of a silver pumper. Somebody who may have owned once upon a time, but for whichever reasons, never normally positive, now longer doesn't, but gives the impression that they do. Next definition of a silver pumper, my own personal thoughts here of a silver pumper, is going to be somebody that purposely overhypes silver, gives you all of the good and none of the bad. It's going to be silver, silver, silver. They may downplay the bad, and usually, I'm no way referring to people that are actively passionate, that are actively stacking and talking about their stack. This is totally different. This one, I'm giving my definition here. This person will purposely, that I've come across and seen, overhype the stuff. And usually it's rare that you'll find somebody or pumper that's actively pumping and pushing the stuff that's willing to show you their stack at the same time. So that's just another red flag sign for me. And as somebody recently stated in the comments, for them also, you'll find these people that know so much, but they're walking the walk but not talking the talk, or vice versa. They're just not showing what they're talking. So you would have thought that the person talking would have had a treasure trove. And if they don't own the stuff because either one, they can't afford it or something, isn't that a red flag for anybody taking their advice? I mentioned in many of my videos, there's a lot of regurgitation, and I think that's one of the dangers also that pumpers do. It's easy to regurgitate the same stuff because it makes you sound cool. It's pumper talk. This is what the dangers. Nothing's coming from the heart or personal experience. It's just from what to say that triggers other people to, take your advice and maybe move on from there. Once again, I want to really put out there, if somebody is pouring silver and making their own silver from there and actively stacking silver, I don't believe these type of people are silver pumpers. I think they're good hustlers, and they've turned a good business, something into, or nothing into something. There's two big differences there, as mentioned. Silver pumpers, for me, somebody may see every silver individual stacking as a silver pumper, but they're few. They're not many of them, but they have the numbers where they can cause enough danger to somebody fresh getting into this, and it's normally the case. You'll find more victims of silver pumpers. I've done videos on silver-tongued lies and people falling for that. So don't be mistaken, hey, if somebody's pouring silver and making their own silver, they're now a silver pumper. No, by no means, because they're actively stacking the stuff. They're actively showing you their progress in the stuff. They're just very passionate to the point where they've evolved. And that's another step of where YouTube videos have also evolved, where you now have people so into it and involved in it that they're actually making and pouring. I've spoke about once upon a time many years ago, doing my own pool. Not something that I personally get back into now, but by no means do I class these people as silver pumpers also, because they can show and tell when the time comes. So that's going to be another red flag for me when we're talking about what a silver pumper is. Purposely overhyping, downplaying the dangers, never showing what they believe in. You know, if you're that, you know, passionate about something, you should have no problem actively showing it at what you currently have. You know, you'll find a lot of the pumpers, well, maybe big time ones that you see out there doing more videos that are really same video repackaged, basically, you know, just switch the words around. And that's another red flag, because people are hungry for that. As mentioned, those that have nothing coming in, a lot of silver stackers are like that. You'll never get that from them. But from what I've personally seen, they come in on that, you know, promise of being rich tomorrow. That lottery system. It's nothing now and it's going to be everything and massive tomorrow. So they're definitely Pied Pipers and dangerous there. So another red flag in what I would consider a silver pumper is somebody that cares more about their views, you know, and their subs and profiting over giving the right neutral advice. They come under the guise of, you know, I just want to put this out here and help you guys. And that's what I do or intend to do on my videos. So now I don't put my own personal, you know, profiteering self ahead of anything else. So I'm not worrying about my views and how many subs I'm getting. If I'm giving advice, and advice is always dangerous. Somebody could say giving advice at all is dangerous because it's your own personal standpoint of something. You need to be as neutral as possible, or make it very clear that it's your approach as to why you picked up this much and that much silver. I see pumpers out there that will actively, you know, be focusing more on themselves. They may have their own brand of silver out there and start a wave where they may say, hey, you know, if you're giving advice, then silver is silver, realistically. If you can figure out what's best for you, if you're a weight stacker, you may say generic. If you're a bar stacker, you may say bars. Silver is silver. You wouldn't say, hey, I love silver, but I hate anything with the Queen's head on it, for instance, and yuck, and start a campaign like that and then say, hey, what a coincidence, my silver doesn't have the Queen's head on it. You know, it's corny underhand tactics and diverting a whole bunch of new people that would be going into yours, but are you buying back that same yuck stuff? Then you may overhype that, hey, well, I sold my stuff on eBay and it done well, so that's you. And what about the other 50 or 100 people that bought your stuff? And, you know, what are dealers paying for your stuff? They don't look that far ahead, as long as they can line their own pockets. And that's what I've seen in one of the many dangers from there. They're worrying about their own subs. They're worrying about profiting. They're worrying about getting donations. They're putting all these things first and just regurgitating the same information. And this is what I believe puts many new stackers in danger. So this is just more of a video to give you a heads up and, you know, some flags to look out for as to whether you may be following a silver pumper. A lot of people watch videos, and whether you like it or not, I'm totally aware of it. You become an influencer, especially when you pick up a bit of momentum with subs and the likes of, and people are going to ask your advice. And when you're in a situation where you can do that, as long as you're level-headed and sensible, you know, I've seen people do fantastic on YouTube, start blowing their money fast like they was making it rain. Next minute, you know, they're the man. They may fall off, and then to get themselves back up, they look at you guys and think I'm going to come up off the back of you guys, and that's a bad thing. So always look out for these types of things. But as much as you put it out there, you know, it's, you know, you're preaching to the choir in the end of the day. People need to be more aware that there are these types of people out there, and just to be more vigilant and do a lot more due diligence and try to get the good and the bad, not just stick your fingers in when somebody's saying something bad or naughty about silver. You want to hear both sides, because you're banking your blood, sweat and tears on this stuff. And there are people out there that will most definitely take full advantage of you, as in life, as in many aspects of life. So I'm going to wrap this one up, guys, but I'd love to hear your definition of a silver pumper. If you've come across one, if you've been scammed by one, or if you think everybody and anybody is one, or just your thoughts and opinions on that in the comments. Please do let me know your thoughts and opinions on this video, and if you haven't done so already, please do go ahead and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the rebound.